All right, man. Let's jump into it right away, man.
Let's do it.
LFA 127 vacant middleweight title is on the
Yes,
line.
sir.
Is this something you've been expecting, this opportunity, or is it somewhat of a surprise to you?
No, you know what? It's to call it a surprise. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a surprise. It's something that this is the type of challenges I look forward to. You know what I mean? Dangerous fights. Stuff that's gonna get me closer to whatever the next biggest stage is. That's the type of fight that excites me. That's what I wanted, and then this fight presented itself, and I'm very aware of the opportunity that I have right now, and I'm just not gonna let it slip, brother.
What do you think is on the line with this title? Because you already hold another title for
Yeah,
another promotion.
right. It's just fights are gonna get harder and harder now, and I like fighting these type of guys is just establishes me as a martial artist. Um, yeah, I think getting closer to what I mean, the bigger stages. That's what's on the line. It's not so much the belt. Like I said, I'm very excited. Like it's an opportunity. I'm very aware of the belt. A lot of greats have held this belt, but it was more so the challenge, man. I love testing myself, and you know what I mean. I enjoy that part.
Are you a martial artist first or a fighter?
I think deep down inside, I'm a fighter, but I'm a martial artist in general. You know what I mean? I think we all are fighters inside. It lives in us. Um, but as I'm getting better and better and growing in the sport, I feel like I'm becoming more and more of a martial artist.
Now the opponent, man, Bruno Assis, 12 and
Yes,
5
sir.
record, 3-fight winning
Yep.
streak. He's faced like some solid man competition. Like you said, as you go up in competition, it gets harder, more difficult
Yeah.
opponents. What are your thoughts on him and the style of fighting that he brings?
He brings a pretty interesting matchup against me. I feel like he might want to try to grapple me and put me against the cage, but I still have not showcased how good I actually am. You know, what I mean, I'm very dangerous everywhere. I am not that easy to be taken down. Like I have a good ground game. You know what I mean. My striking is improving every day, and yeah, man, like he's dangerous overall, but I feel like I have not fought my best fight yet.
His last fight was at LFA 120 against Jalen Fuller. What did you think of how that fight played out?
Uh, he managed to get Jalen down. Honestly, I didn't. I've watched maybe I watched that fight one time. I want to say or
Mhm.
twice the most. Um, I don't really like watching my opponents. I know as fights get bigger, I probably should, but I leave that to my coaches. Honestly,
Mhm.
I'm always in the gym. I'm always training, and then when a fight gets brought up to me, like okay, and they just work on specifics, and they tell me this is what we need to avoid, and that's it. You know what I mean? I did watch it, but yeah, man. I mean, he's just dangerous when it comes to grappling, and that's something I'm very aware of.
Watching film on your opponents, does it play like a psychological game on your mind maybe if you're just over obsessing, watching them and seeing them all the time?
Yeah, I feel like it probably does. That's why I don't really entertain the thought of watching him fight too much.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, at the end of the day, like I am getting ready for him, but he's also getting ready for me. You know what I mean? And I can't control what he does. I can only control how I react. So whatever he does to me, that's I have to react a certain way. You know what I mean? So it's like if I focus too much on, oh, what is this guy gonna do to me, or what's he gonna try to do? It's just gonna probably throw me off and make me think too much about it. I mean, I can only control how I react, and we'll see that night.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch on your last fight at Lights Out, second
Okay.
round TKO finish. Take us through that fight and how you manifested that finish.
Well, I got in more of a fight than I probably should have in the first round. It was a brawl, definitely. Yeah, man, I think going into that second round, I just really had to check myself, and luckily, like I'm surrounded with great coaches. And my coach Chad George, he just told me man, you know what, the reason why this fight is being harder than it is because I'm allowing my emotions to get too much of it. Like he wants to make that fight a brawl, and I like went into that type of fight. You know what I mean? Instead of being technical and following the game plan and stuff like that. But second round, I feel like we came back more strategic in what the first round should have been. But you know, we got it done. It wasn't as pretty as I wanted it, but hey, we still got it done. You know.
What clicked? Was it something between the rounds in the corner? You know,
Yeah, it was just more so a reminder that like I don't need to brawl with this guy. You know what I mean? I can beat this guy if I'm very technical and just stay long, and then the right hand will land. You know, the
mhm.
I just gotta be patient and find it. You know what I mean? Instead of forcing stuff and like just throwing and getting in these heavy exchanges with a heavy hand fighter like Moses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And after that fight, what I mean, what did you take some time off, or were you just like back right immediately in training? Like, I need to get another fight in real fast.
No, I took I didn't take complete time off. I still, was training. My nose was a little messed up, but I just let it heal a little bit, my hand. So I took away from like hard sparring, but I still stayed, working out, training like around my
Mhm.
like injuries. So to say I took time off, no, I didn't take time off at all, actually.
Mm.
I just took time off from like intense sparring, I want to say.
Well, if you did take any kind of like, I guess, pull back a little bit, that would probably be the best time, right? Right after,
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely, yeah.
November, December. That's like the best
Yeah.
time to have time
Oh,
off.
100%, yeah. I enjoyed some food, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, you got to, man. I think like
Yeah.
that
Uh-huh.
something in your brain, like when you enjoy food, like especially for fighters that have to cut weight and restrict their diet and all of that stuff. I think it magnifies the taste of things. Do you feel that like after you go through a camp and then you eat like what you want to
Oh,
eat, does it
definitely.
magnify?
Hell yeah. Yes, it's so rewarding, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I love food. I'm a natural big guy, so yeah, man, like definitely feels good.
Yeah. Now, I was checking out the Tapology page, and it said your foundation is Pancration. I think a lot of people don't understand exactly what that is. Could you explain to us, the uneducated?
Well, so pancration is something like when I first started martial arts, my coach at the time, Frank Culture, he came from over there, what is the Matt Hume's gym? It's AMC Pancration in
That's right.
Seattle. So he kind of
Mhm,
just brought the name over. You know what I mean? So like what he taught us, he it was just more like he just said this is our
mhm,
pancrase style. You know what I mean? And
mhm.
a lot of like heavy pressure and stuff like that. But pancrase is just martial arts. You know what I mean? And I think I should probably update that topology page. That's an old one. But yeah, it's just more so that's I just took on the name of the gym, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Oh, pancration style, you know what I mean?
All right. For this
Yeah.
camp, man, where have you been splitting time? Of course, CMMA, but have you
I
gone other spots?
I usually just do always my camp at
Mhm,
CMMA. I work my boxing with Coach Jose over at Lobos Boxing. Um, but yeah, mostly just CMMA, honestly. And
mhm,
Rise Athletics where I do my strength and conditioning. Rise Athletics LA with my coach Taylor Ross. Shout out to Taylor Ross, of
mhm.
course. Yeah, but most of my camp, like when it comes to fight, it's CMMA. Everything I do there, you know what I mean?
You're training for back-to-back 5 rounders, man. Like, how has it been, doing that? Because that's a little different from like a regular 3-round fight.
Yeah, man, it's a little more intense, you know
Mhm,
what I mean? Yeah, it's very, very tough, but yeah, it's not too much of a difference, I want to say. Obviously, what I would say the difference is the intensity each round brings, you know what I mean? Like
mhm.
the fatigue that you feel in rounds 4 or 5 and 6, 7, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, but I don't want to say it's too much of a difference. It's just more resistance, you know?
And more rounds probably, right? Just like,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's where the killer is, right? Where the fatigue
Yeah.
starts to set in, and everybody should know that fatigue is probably your worst enemy, anybody's worst enemy
Yeah,
inside anything, right?
definitely. Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. It'll break you.
Um, who have been the most important people for this camp helping you?
Everybody plays a big role at our gym. It's not just a specific person. Like the I want to say the environment that we have in
Mhm.
CMMA, like they all play a big part. You know what I mean? If one person has a fight, we all have a fight. You know what I mean? Only because one person's in there doesn't mean it's just that person training. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
obviously that person gets a little more attention, but the environment like that we have is very special,
Mhm.
and I feel like that is a big part and like our gym success. You know what I mean? Our all our fighters are doing great. You know.
So what are your expectations in this fight coming up, man, with this title on the line?
I always expect the hardest fight of my life. I expect a war. I expect 25 minutes of just fucking banging each other out, me bleeding, him bleeding, me hurting, him hurting, you know what I mean? Always expect the worst. So, yeah, man, it's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be a good fight, and it's gonna be a banger, but I will come out on top for sure.
You come out on top, you're carrying 2 straps, man. That's like, not many people are doing that nowadays,
Right.
right? So,
Yeah.
what's the next steps for this year? Because this year is a new year right now. So, what
Yeah.
can we see by the end of the year? Where do you wanna be by the end of the year?
I mean, I'm gonna be real honest with you. This is probably like just like an average answer that you get,
Mhm,
but like me personally, I don't look past my fights. I never think, oh, what comes after this fight? Like, no, like right now it's just fighting Bruno, and I need to get past him, and
mhm.
I'll worry about what happens after. You know what I mean? And whatever happens, I'll be ready, whether it be like any fight or just time off. Doesn't matter. I will worry about it after the fight. You know what I mean? I don't really entertain the thought of what am I gonna do after this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think everybody has different approaches. I've been talking to fighters for a long time, and some
Right.
fighters they are better mentally if they think about the goals that are ahead of them and have kind of
Right.
like everything jotted down. Other fighters, they just need to know what they're doing in the next fight and what do they need to accomplish in the next fight. And then
Right.
mentally, they go in there with a clear mind and accomplish their goals. So, whatever it is, man, you just gotta
Yeah.
find what works for you. I think that's the
Yeah. Of
most
course.
important thing, right?
Yeah, what works for me is like I don't look past my opponents. To me,
Mhm.
every opponent I fight is the best in the world. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing beyond this opponent. It's he's the best in the world. That's how I approach my training. You know what I mean? It helps me mentally as well.
All right, March 25th, LFA 127, main event, middleweight title.
Yes,
It's gonna
sir.
be bonkers, man. Thank you so much for
Hell
the
yeah,
time,
man.
Ozzy.
I appreciate you for having me, brother.